Alright, hey guys, we're at the movie theater again one more time. We're here to watch another movie, of course. It's time for another movie review. We're here to see Spider-Man Brand New Day. Alrighty, well, let's get in and I will see you guys when we get home. Alright, hey guys, we're back from the theater. Let's talk about what I thought of the movie. I thought it was excellent. Probably my favorite movie of the summer. It'll probably be my second favorite movie of the year. Behind, of course, the big one. We'll talk more about the big one and my thoughts how this can lead into that movie in just a bit towards the end of the video. So, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Again, I expected more of like a clean slate, a more bare bones, not to be so closed in, but kind of a bare bones Spider-Man movie. Something more in vein of like Sam Raimi movies, the Sam Raimi movies or the Andrew Garfield movies, where it's kind of like centralized on one villain. But that's not what we got. It is more simple, and then it becomes more complicated throughout the whole. It starts with that kind of like narrow, simple thing, and then it kind of comes out a little bit, which I did like. That was a nice story progression, in my opinion. So yeah, highly recommend you go see it. And with that, I'm gonna do a brief story time, and then we're gonna go into my spoiler thoughts slash theories, if you will. So yeah. So story time. I went to the theater on Tuesday. I'm actually recording this Thursday into Friday morning. Friday like 1 a.m. 2 a.m. So so if I'm a little slow on my thoughts, or isn't so comprehensive, that's probably why. So yeah, I went to see it on Tuesday, but the AC wasn't working and it was really hot. So I actually got a reschedule for free, and I got to see it again on Wednesday. So I technically saw the first 45, between 30 and 45 minutes, basically for free. And then I saw it again in full in my again. So yeah, I actually saw majority of that first viewing standing at kind of an angle, because the hallway had AC and all the other theaters had AC. It was just that one theater that didn't have any. It was really hot. But it was actually the coolest place was in that hallway, so I was watching it in kind of an angle like this. So it was nice to rewatch, that 30, but between 30 and 45 minutes in a proper sitting position. So yeah. Now let's get into the spoiler thoughts. I'm gonna kind of go character by character, if you will, and then I'm gonna mention one incident, and then we'll kind of segue into spoilers at the end. So yeah, the idea of Spidey being on his own, very stressed, not pretty much working constantly, almost overworking himself, to the point where he now gets natural webs. That whole thing I thought was genius. I really like that. And then the idea of balancing yourself out. I really like that. And again, the fight with the hand is one of my favorite moments in this film. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Spidey centric stuff. My favorite moments, as you know, with me, I tend to love, especially with Spider-Man movies, ensemble character movies. So this really appealed to me, as did the previous Spider-Man movie. So yeah, let's talk Frank Castle. This one surprised me. I thought the way they were going to take the Frank Castle and Spider-Man story was, I thought they were going to make him question his own, I don't know, morals, if you will. That's what I kind of thought they were gonna do, but I was pleasantly surprised with what they did. I mean, they kind of did that a little, but again, it became more of the somewhat father and son kind of dynamic. Kind of like a Tony and Spidey, a little bit. But yeah, I really like what they did with it. I was pleasantly surprised with what I uh, somewhat of a, I don't know if you call it a misdirection of, but something different than I expected. Let's put it that way. So that's something I loved. Um, and the big one, Jean Grey. I'm gonna ramble for like 2 or 3 minutes, so pardon me. Spoiler alert: I'm a huge X-Men fan, so especially the animated series. I need to start reading some of the comics. I've read a couple issues because I picked up some. There was a comic store nearby me, and they had some cheap issues, and I bought all the X-Men ones, and I've read some of those, but I need to get like one of those thick books of X-Men, and read some of the stories eventually. But yeah, Jean Grey. That was a pleasant surprise for me. Again, I didn't watch nothing related to this movie. I did watch a Spider-Man recap, but that's about it. Um, Talking more about the character and how that went off. So I didn't really know going in. That we were gonna. Well, actually, I didn't know about Frank Castle. That I did know, but the Jean Grey thing I didn't expect at all. So again, Sadie Sink pulled it off. Sorry, pulled it off very well, and it gives me massive hope for the X-Men and what Kevin Feige can do with that. And Kevin Feige and team can do with those characters. Because I'm watching X-Men 97 right now, and if they can do, you know, I mean not copy, all all that stuff, but I mean in terms of character development and story, in terms of approach, I would appreciate that because the X Men definitely need a 10 out of 10 X Men movie because, I mean X2 exists, and Days of Future Past exists, but they're not as epic as something like Doomsday is going to be, or Infinity War and Endgame. I feel like X Men deserves a story of that magnitude. Something like Days of Future Past or so. Even though that movie didn't get as much, as big of a scale as I think it should have. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, I have hope for the future of X-Men. And again, I didn't expect I don't know very much again about backstories, but yeah, the tragedy of the loss of her sister was really sad, and I didn't know Jean had a sister in the comics or anything like that. So I'm gonna have to read more up on that. But yeah, again gives me the hope for the X-Men. I wonder if at the end of the movie, Jean's going to Xavier. Maybe I don't in this universe. It's just food for thought. You never know. I'm very excited for the X-Men and what the future could bring, and we can talk more about that towards the end of this video. And yeah, but yeah, again, Sadie pulled it off very well. The whole cast pulled it off very well. The only complaint I have with this movie was there wasn't quite enough Hulk in it. At least from what I heard, it was gonna be, Hulk was gonna be a big. The way people phrase it was gonna be Hulk was gonna be a bigger player than what it actually was. So that was I don't. To be fair, it wasn't, movie's fault. It was just my expectations. That's kind of the only thing I have to say at fault with this film that I can think of. So yeah. Again, the idea. We're gonna talk more about Ned and MJ in the conspiracy section. So yeah, let's get to that right now. More so the Ned side. that last shot where he's like, Peter. I'm curious. I wonder if how he got that memory back. Uh, it was through the handshake, but there must have been something to it. I've looked online, and some people think it was Gene who did that. That could make sense. That's an interesting theory, or is there something bigger at hand? That's what I want to know. Um, this is kind of like a theories slash question section. So if you want to put your theories down below in the comments, feel free to do so. Although I don't know how many people are going to do that. So please prove me wrong and put a comment down below with your theory. And the big one, the Spidey tracker. So yeah, the post-credit scene is the Spidey tracker, and it shows the Spider-Man that's in a different world. I've read two theories to this, and I think both of them are plausible. One of them is that a alternate well, both of them could be true at once. I've read a theory that Miles Morales could be coming to the MCU, which I think is plausible. Given the popularity of the video games and Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, I think it's possible. And with the third one coming out very soon, and Kevin Feige said he wanted to wait for supposedly wanted to wait for that saga to end and then bring Miles into the MCU, which makes sense. You don't want to make too much confusion. So it could be possible. And then the other theory is that the Fantastic Four, I've heard, is that the Fantastic Four brought him on their ship, during that post-credit scene in Thunderbolts. Again, one of my Thunderbolts is one of my favorite scenes in the post-Infinity Saga. I have maybe 4 or 5 movies that I really loved, and this is one of them. Most of them I would skip, but this is one of the few that I was like, "Whoa, this is really, really, really good." It gives me hope for Doomsday, which I'm very excited for. So yeah, the theory is that maybe there's another Spider-Man on the Fantastic Four ship. That one I believe less in, but I think it could be possible. Again, we have many multiverses going on in Doomsday, so I think it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. So yeah, or maybe. So yeah, now it's the who's in Doomsday question, and this is gonna become more of a Doomsday theory kind of thing. Do I think Spider-Man's gonna be Doomsday? I don't think so. Probably, I mean, 99% sure in Secret Wars, but I don't think in this movie, in this coming Doomsday movie. But I could be proven wrong. You never know. Doomsday is about, I think, 4 months away. Not quite 4 months away, and I'm very excited. I'm again huge X-Men fan, so I'm excited to see. I love the cast of the movie, so I'm excited to see Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and the gang suit back up, and that's going to be a lot of fun to see for me. And again, Doom looks so badass. I'm excited. I'm so excited for the movie. In fact, the trailer played before Spider-Man Brand New Day, so I was glad to see the trailer on the big screen. So yeah, I'm very excited for all that's coming. And then my theory on X-Men. Again, I have a theory that Jean went to go see Xavier. Which would make sense to me because, it makes sense. Because they need to bring the X-Men in because the X-Men is a confirmed movie. But I think that's the stepping stone that they're going to do to bring the X-Men into the MCU. Is they're going to have her go to the X-Men. They're going to introduce the team. and then there you go. Or at least that's going to be our segue into the team. Um, so yeah, this movie was really good. I've been talking for a bit. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Oh, before I leave, I gotta mention the potato scene, and this is one of my favorites. Makes me laugh. The whole scene made me laugh, and again, Yelena is one of my favorite post Infinity War Endgame characters. So I'm very excited for Doomsday. All the greats are gonna be there together. The classics and the new guys all together in the film. I love ensemble superhero movies, and I'm very excited for Doomsday. And you bet I will be doing a review of that movie when it comes out, and I will probably have a lot more to say. But yeah, my I need to get something to drink. My I've been talking a while, so yeah, I'm gonna go now. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Peace, everybody.